So should parents discuss birth control with their adult kids? A stepmom wrote to Ask Amy, saying her husband is worried that the only birth control his son uses with his girlfriend is condoms. And the couple could wind up with an unwanted pregnancy. Should they get involved?
Why is everyone looking at me?
You're a dad and you have sons.
I do have sons,
Yeah.
and they are grown. It's Owen and Gregor, they're 20 and 23. And should you talk about birth control with your children? Yes. Do I spend a lot of time talking about my adult children's sex life? No. And I'm also very happy the fact that my mother and father respected the same rule. I mean, I think my mother would maybe try to, but I wouldn't listen.
But can I go back in time a little bit? Like when you have the talk of the birds and the bees, as perhaps you did with the boys, birth control probably part of that conversation as well.
Sure.
And how far does that go?
But I mean, that's your kids, though. That's not someone else's kids. It's very, very different to sort of say, like if the dad was going on at as his son saying, you know what, you're never having kids, get the snip. You know what I mean? That's fine. You can talk about that if you want. But it's very different to be able to go to his girlfriend and say, hey, listen, welcome to the family. You on the pill? What's that?
Yeah.
And I think that's the part of the story, right? Like, you know, that it was his son.
Yes.
And his son's girlfriend. And what his recommendation was to the girlfriend was, hey, you should use a condom and she should go on the pill too.
I know one thing for sure that it will stop is him getting any sex from his girlfriend ever again. Like that'll be the end of it. I'm done.
Like Thanksgiving dinners are going to be really awkward.
Very, very awkward.
Going forward. I mean, I wonder if it's important to note that this dad is living in a state where access to abortion is no longer easy as a result of what has changed in the United States. So his tensions are ramped up. Again, obviously, him trying to imply he should have any say in what this young woman does with her body is entirely wrong. But if I think back to my sex ed, of which there was none growing up, I went to a Catholic school, we didn't even get the condom on the banana story, right? Like that, I'm not sure if that's changed now, but all I can say is that what we know now, what I know as a sex educator, is that condoms are reliable 99% of the time, if they're used properly. And that if they're used properly is very important. So again, how old are these kids? Like they're not kids, they're young adults, they're 20. You missed the boat of talking about it in depth. You had an opportunity, maybe you need to make some time up. But I'm just saying as a concept, I do understand as a mom of a son, making sure that he understands how to use that functionality, that type of birth control properly.
Wow. Can I follow? I love what you're both saying. Because of the environment in the United States right now, with Roe v. Wade being overturned, and there are just abortion bans seemingly every other state, access is a problem. Again, however, with this story, as originally with Roe v. Wade, everybody keeps coming down on the woman. Like pregnancy is a woman's problem. I want to encourage everybody to read this book by the name of Gabrielle Blair is the author. This is the title of her book. Ejaculate Responsibly, a whole new way to think about abortion. I'm going to read you. If you've got young kids, just know that I'm going to be speaking about this. This is what she writes in a series of tweets, and it made my mind bend. She goes by @DesignMom on Twitter. I'm a mother of 6 and a Mormon. I have a good understanding of arguments surrounding abortion, religious and otherwise. I've been listening to men grandstand about women's reproductive rights, and I'm convinced men actually have zero interest in stopping abortion. Here's why. If you want to stop abortion, you need to prevent unwanted pregnancies, and men are 100% responsible for unwanted pregnancies. No, for real, they are. Perhaps you are thinking it takes 2, and yes, it does take 2 for intentional pregnancies. But all unwanted pregnancies are caused by the irresponsible ejaculations of men, period. Don't believe me? Let me walk you through it. Let's start with this. Women can only get pregnant about 2 days each month, and that's for a limited number of years. That makes 24 days a year a woman might get pregnant. But men can cause pregnancy 365 days a year. In fact, if you're a man who ejaculates multiple times a day, you could cause multiple pregnancies daily. In theory, a man could cause 1,000+ unwanted pregnancies in just 1 year. And though their sperm gets crappier as they age, men can cause unwanted pregnancies from puberty till death. So just starting with basic biology plus the calendar, it's easy to see men are the issue here.
That's amazing. I love that is like pregnancy education and all of that. You know, as you said, Cynthia, more education needs to be sex ed in general. But I also love that that is a little bit of abortion education. And I would like to add that to men's curriculum. If you're having sex, then understand why abortions are necessary, what happens during an abortion, and what happens when abortion is not legal. I just screened a film, you should see it. It's called Call Jane. It's about the reproductive rights and abortion activists of the 1960s and 70s. There was a woman who had a life-threatening heart condition. She went to the hospital in the 70s where a board member, 10 men, you know, sat at a table listening to her argue her case to have an emergency abortion. And they asked her what the value of her life was. Why should we save your life? Why should we allow you to have an abortion? Because I want to live. I want to see my first child get older. They said, okay, we've heard your case, and no, you can't have an abortion. She went home and considered throwing herself down the stairs because another woman who did the same thing did that. Women were telling other women to throw themselves down the stairs because this was not a procedure available to women to make a choice for their body. I would like everyone to see this movie, but if we're gonna have sex ed, let's have abortion ed for men so you understand when men are trying to step in on a woman's body, what a woman has to do with it when you make laws that prevent her from making that choice. Call Jane is the movie.
I mean, it's an interesting point that we haven't really discussed. I mean, not to put you on the spot again, Stuart, but you are a dad of older sons. I mean, like, where would they get, you know, education about abortion? I mean, do you trust your child rearing that they would be responsible?
I mean, I think a lot of it falls on the parents. They need to sort of take responsibility for that and try to do that. And that's easy to say, but it's really much harder to do. Owen and Gregor, if you're watching, Daddy, just plug your ears. We're going to talk about sex for the you know, I think that's exactly as you said, Lainey, the idea that men they instigate all this stuff. Like, they're the ones who actually are setting off that fuse. So you need to be very, very responsible what you're doing. You have to be aware of having that power as well.
Yeah, there it is. The book is called Ejaculate Responsibly, A Whole New Way to Think About Abortion. And the film?
Call Jane.
There it is. That's part of your education, maybe? A little bit?
Hey there, wasn't that great? Do you know where you can find some equally good content? Our YouTube page. It's filled with discussions, debates, and some laughs. Head there now, like and subscribe.